Yo, what's up, everybody? Hope you're doing great. We're here to talk about Fairy Tale number 40, which kind of wraps up the Grand Magic Games arc. And we start off with a very sexy picture of Yukina in a dress, but it's just the opening shot of the volume. We actually start off with Laxus and Wendy fighting a dragon, and we kind of bounce around. People are fighting dragons, crazy stuff's happening. At some point, Lucy rolls up in her sexy outfit and is like, look at this, it's the journal from future Lucy. It tells us exactly what to do. What do we got to do? We have to destroy the Gate of Eclipse. If we destroy the Eclipse Gate, then none of this other shit can go down and everything returns to normal. And it's like, aha, let's do it. And Lucy and Yukina are like, let's go. And nothing happens. And they're like, ruh-roh. We're not strong enough. And Arcadios mentions that the gate is immune to magic because it's made with magnanium. There you go. We jump back over to Natsu, who's fighting Shadow Rogue up in the sky, and they go back and forth, and they talk about how Shadow Rogue doesn't have to be evil, and he doesn't have to do all this shit. And what about Frosh? Oh, Frosh dies in the future, and if he dies here and dies there, it doesn't matter, he's dead, and I need to take control of the world, and yada yada. And then Natsu's like, that's stupid shit, man. And he does like a super powerful attack and just blasts the shit out of Shadow Rogue, knocking him and the dragon and everybody straight into the Gate of Eclipse, which Yukina and Lucy are still trying to bash open. And luckily for us, we get a shot of Lucy, who's hot, but the dragon bashing into the gate and destroying it with Natsu standing on top of Rogue. And Lucy's like, hooray, Natsu. So now the gate's destroyed. Natsu's like looking at him. He looks all tuckered out. Everyone looks all tuckered out. And he's like, what's happening? And all the dragons start to like disappear. And then, God, what was this guy's name? The fire dragon is like, oh, Natsu, it's been good. I'll see you later, buddy. And he's like, and Natsu's like, bye, mister. And then all the other dragons are disappearing too. And at some point, we head over to the Jade Dragon, which is like standing there he's the one that's fighting Wendy and Laxus, and he's about to like attack before he fades into nothing or whatever. And the princess walks up and they starts chit-chatting with him about how, oh, you're the Jade Dragon. Oh, my name means Jade. That's so cute. And the dragon's like, oh, that's interesting. I like the name Jade Dragon. He's like, wait a second, you tricked me. And then he disappears. Like, and then everybody's gone and everyone starts cheering and like everyone's super happy about everything except the dragon slayers, because not a single dragon slayer was able to slay a dragon, and they all feel like they're pieces of shit, which they are, because they were not able to slay any dragons. Well, Natsu's standing back over with Natsu. He's standing there looking at Shadow Rogue, and Shadow Rogue's like, you must tell myself that in a year Frosh is going to die, and that's what sets off this whole chain of events, and what will kill him is... I faded out of here and I can't tell you anymore. We then jump over to future Lucy, who is looking hot even though she's kind of dead, and she pops up in like the flowery fields of Elysium or something, and she's looking around trying to figure out what's going on, and then she sees like the shadow of Natsu and Happy and the rest of Fairy Tale. Natsu grabs her and runs off to see everybody else, and she's like, let's head on, we got to get to our next adventure. And she's like, yes. And so I think she's in heaven. There's a whole thing at the back of this. There's an afterword, and it's like the Grand Magic art, but this is written by Hiro Mashima, the manga-kun. And he talks about how the Golden Grasslands at this that chapter is like very confusing and hard to understand, and that generally shonen anime or shonen manga, you want to make it very simple to understand because it's for like middle school kids. And he's like, so what's the answer? Did she go to heaven? Did she stay alive? Nobody knows. It's not that important. So fuck. Anyway. That's pretty good. And then we get a shot of Natsu standing there trying to figure out what's going on because he's an idiot. And then Lucy starts crying and she feels like really close. And that the journal of future Lucy is like fading out of her hands. She runs up and hugs Natsu. And Natsu's like, what's wrong? And she's like, nothing. I just felt like I needed to hug you and to tell you thanks. We then get to see Yukina in her dress because there's a big party for everybody, all the wizards at least, at the... in the capital, in the castle, right? And so then we see all the fairy tales kind of getting changed. We get a very sexy like splash page for chapter 338 where we get some nice ass shot of Lucy, so it's perfect. People around town are talking about dragons. If there were dragons, the dragon thing, like, was it actually a thing? Did something happen? Yada, yada, yada. And then everyone's confused. And we get like a fun shot. Everyone's wearing like fancy clothes because they're all at this big gathering in the castle. And there's this huge like dining facility. And so it's just a lot of like people chit-chatting, making amends. We see Kagura's wearing like a very fancy dress, and then she's like very embarrassed by the whole situation. Juvia's talking to Gray about how she's Juvia 2.0 and how she's upgraded, and we get like the different versions of her or whatever. And then Gray's like, I've also upgraded. I'm going to be more straightforward with people. I reject you. And she's like, no, I'm in love with you even more now. We also get a little information. The princess Hyusui or whatever, Hisui goes up to Lucy and is like, oh, I knew your father. He was a friend of mine. And we get no further information at this time about that. Let's see. We get a funny little bit about Wendy and Sharia trying to eat fancy desserts, and then Minerva, or not Minerva. What is her name? The guild master number 1. Oh, what is her name? Anyway, it starts with them. And how she's like, oh, I want desserts too. And she's like drooling. And Wendy's like, oh, you're a ghost. And then Sharia's like, what? Because no one can see the fairy tale guild master except the fairy tale members. We get some, it's a lot of funny stuff in this section. We get Laxus being assaulted by a bunch of women because he's so sexy and strong. We get Kagura telling Urza that she wants to call her big sister and be taking care of her. We then get some stuff about Millennia still upset because of the whole Jalil thing, but then Urza wins her over by giving her cats, which are just like Happy, Panther Lily, and what's her fuck? Clara. That's not her. Yeah, something like that. Anyway. Carla, that's what it is. And we start getting information as people are just kind of wandering around doing shit that Natsu's not around. And let's see. Where's Natsu? What could Natsu be doing? Back and forth. And then all the dragon... then Yukino's kind of sad because she doesn't know where to go or what to do with herself. And then... she's not kind of sad yet. She gets kind of sad in a minute. But Sting kind of walks up to Yukino and is like, hey, we're going to restart our guild Sabretooth, and we want you to come back because now we care about people. And then Kagura is like, nope, I won the battle, so she has to join my guild. But she's like super drunk, and so everyone's like, what? And then Sting's like, oh, fight you. And then Ichiya is like, no, she's going to be part of our guild because she's so beautiful. And then Cerberus, Quattro Cerberus, Bacchus is like, no, she'll be part of our guild. And then everyone's starting to fight, and all the guild leaders are starting to fight. And Yukina's like crying because she's so happy that people want, care about her and want her to be a part of them. And then Arcadios is like, all right, everybody cut the fuck out. The king's here. And the king is dun 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 Natsu. It's not actually Natsu. I think the king is like, I get there's the pumpkin guys there and the the guy whatever, and they're like, no, give us back the crown jewels and everything, and he's like, aha, the king, you must do what I say. And then Makarov loses the rest of his hair because he's so stressed out by the whole thing. And then Lucy calls him out for going overboard again. And there's even a shot with Arcadios being like, hungry wolf, I need you to destroy this guy. And they're like, we can't, he's too strong. Good stuff. We then get more sexy shots of just the other girls who are not in Fairy Tail in the chapter 339 shot. They're all in bathing suits and it's hot as shit. We move over to Jalil and Marudi. They're thinking about how, everything that's occurred. They're sad about Urtir, who they haven't seen. And then Doranbalt shows up, and we learn that Doranbalt went and changed all the memories of all the council members for the Magic Guild and Los, who's his little homie, to make sure that none of them know about the dragon attack because he's concerned about the collapse of the kingdom because they use dark magic, because Eclipse is dark magic from the Book of Zareth. And if they found out they used it, it could destroy the whole government for the whole country and whatnot. And that he also, Lahar, that's his name. Lahar is his little buddy. He erased his memory too because he's going to go somewhere in life and he doesn't want him to have compromised ethics hiding this dark secret and whatnot. He then asks about Urtir and they're like, yeah, she's missing. And then they talk about Cobra. Cobra volunteered. He's the snake poison dragon slayer. He volunteered to go back to prison without any issues. And then he says some cryptic bullshit about he wants to save all 6 of us and how the gate of the world of the dead is going to open, which is kind of hinting at Tartarus, which is there's the 3 big dark guilds. There's Hades Guild, which was something. There's Orisian Sais, which is the guild he was a member of. And then there's Tartarus, which we haven't gotten any information about thus far. Grimoire Heart, that's the name of Hades Guild. Then later on, Jalil and Marudia continue to walk and think and talk about everything that's going on. And then an old lady comes up and gives them a letter. The letter is from Urtir. The old lady's actually Urtir, but they don't figure that out, right? So this super old lady, grandma, great grandma, gives them a letter, and it's all about how she appreciated the time and not give up and keep fighting against Zareth. And Marudi's crying, and Jalil's holding her. And Jalil at some point realizes that was Urtir. Old tier, it's the same thing. It's just the accent. Meanwhile, the main cast of Fairy Tail, which is Ursa, Lucy, Wendy, Natsu, and Gray, are all riding in a carriage back to... Not Fiore. Fiore is the main capital. Magnolia. To get back to the Fairy Tail Guild, and they pass the old lady, and Gray realizes that it's Urtir. She's like, talking about how happy she is and she's ready to die and stuff. And then he tells the carriage to stop, and he's like checking it out, and he's thinking about how he realizes that she's the one who saved him and like stopped time and stuff, because he like put the things together, and then he starts crying and he doesn't understand why and Urtir both like sacrifice themselves for him, and like he doesn't deserve it, and it causes some angst inside his head and whatnot. Back in Magnolia, everyone's super jazzed up that, Fairy Tail is the number one guild in the world, and the members are all super happy, and everyone's super excited. And Natsu's like, I brought it, and he pulls out the crown of the Kingdom of Fiore, and everyone's like, the fuck? And he's like, oh, sorry, that was the wrong thing. I brought the King's Cup, which is the victory, which is the thing they actually won. And so everyone's cheering and holding it up. And then Juve gets super concerned about Gray and is like checking in on him. And then the mayor of Magnolia is like, we have done something. You guys have brought a lot of prestige to our town, and like you've shown that you're worth fighting for or something. And they rebuilt the guild of Fairy Tail, and it's even like fucking bigger than before. And everyone's like, holy shit, it's so nice looking. And they're like, hooray, we're back. And everyone's like, yay. And then we see like the little dark creature that was around in the games that was like causing trouble. Like it caused like knocked Lucy out and stuff, and it was kind of running around doing shady shit, and it runs off into the woods, and it lands on Zareth, dun dun dun. And then Mavis, that's her name, the first guild master of Fairy Tail, she kind of like floats on over there, and they have a conversation about, they apparently used to know each other, and she asks if he's ready to die or figure that out, if found a place to die, and he's like, I've been waiting the ages for like hundreds of years for the age of man to end, and finally I've just changed my mind. If I don't want to die anymore, the world rejects me, I reject them. And she's like, you're going to start a war? And he's like, no, I'm going to exterminate every single like person. And then we get a huge double page shot of him looking dark and thinking that, and we get a huge double page shot of Mavis, and she's like, Fairy Tail will stop you. You'll be the one to meet your end. And then they're like in a standoff, and the little creature's like very concerned or whatnot. And then we get like some words that are like, not so, the time for your battle is fast approaching. And then we get one of my favorite chapters of all of Fairy Tail in existence, 341. And that's because it is so much almost naked Lucy. It is like the Hot Springs episode. So there's a giant, huge bath, communal bath that has been built in the new Fairy Tail. And so we start off with like Lucy completely naked, along with what's her name? Lily-wise. No, that's from Nikkei Goddess Victory. Lilith? That's also Nikkei. I don't remember her name. Oh, no, Lysiana. It's Lysiana. And they're just like washing themselves, and the only reason we don't see tits is because of hair and then body placement. And then honestly, there's a chance for us to see like complete tits, and it's just not there, but it's so hot. So we see Lucy just taking a bath and hanging out and being sexy as shit. And then, everyone else is there, like Kana's there, and Levy's there. And then we learned that like some of the boys went off on like quests, because they're like, oh, Levy, where's your homies? And like, oh, they went on a quest by themselves, and their quest like completely failed, and they're being captured, and they're begging Gajil to save them. And actually, this is like Gajil and Panther Lily went on a quest, and they just like tagged along and got caught. And then we get like more shots of naked Lucy, which is excellent. And then Kana gets like, she's like, oh, I heard Natsu copped a feel, and she's like, who told you that? That stupid cat. And then Kana's like drunk, so she's like, I want to cop a feel. And so she starts grabbing Lucy's breasts, and I'm like, oh my god, damn, this is I don't need anything else in my life. It's so fucking awesome. And there's a lot of talk about boobs and stuff. And then Levy is like, oh, Wendy usually stops to talk boobs because she gets so concerned. What happened to her? And it's like, oh, her and Ursa went off on a quest, and they went back to the acting guild, or that place where they perform so they can get like sweets or something. And it's like really embarrassing. And then we see and then someone's like, no, Ursa's right there. And they all turn, and it's not Ursa, it's Flare. That's her name. Flede, who's the redheaded girl who controls hair, and everyone's like, and so she's there bathing naked, and then Kana's about to go attack her, but then Lucy attacks her, and then we get some boob on boob action, which is excellent. And then they are like, oh, hey, what are you here? She's like, oh, Raven isn't around anymore. And they're like, oh, well, you just joined our guild. And she's like, well, and And then Levi and Lysiana get concerned, and then Juvia's like, oh no, she's got the same kind of like thing as me, where she's got like dark and gloomy like thing going on. And she's like, I don't want to join Fairy Tale. They're like, what are you here for? We get no answers about that. So she's just there to be sexy and be a redhead, I guess. So Lucy's headed back to her apartment, and she's super happy at the baths and everything. And when she gets there, she's surprised by dun dun dun. Not Gray and Happy, not Natsu and Happy, but Happy, Wendy, and Urza, who are here. They finished their quest. They got the sweets. They want to share the sweets. And they're like, what about Natsu? Carla, not Happy. Carla, Urza, and Wendy. And they're like, oh, what happened to those guys? Are they, they're very strong. So if they're not here, something really dangerous might have happened. Maybe we should go help them. So they go to head off to where the quest was taken care of, and they find a giant like pig orc monster, and it's dead. And they're like, oh, that thing's huge, but it's been down for like days. And then Happy comes like struggling out of the woods, and he looks like messed up, and he's like, Carla, help me. And they're like, what happened here? And it's like they fought, and they've been fighting for like 3 days straight. And it's like, oh, fuck. And so Urza's like, I've had enough of this. You two need to stop. And they're both like, shut up. And they both punch her. And then they're like, oh, we have made a terrible mistake. And everyone gets like very concerned. We then jump ahead, presumably after punishment was issued. And we're back at the guild. And Natsu and Gray are like, we will never work again. I hate working with that guy. It's like all the way back to the very beginning of the series. And then Mary Jane's like, oh, we got a bunch of more emergency requests. And then Makarov's like, oh, let me see those. And he's like, not so great. You have another request. And like, no, we refuse. We will not work together again. And he's like, all right. And he looks at it. He's like, nope, you will. You will absolutely do this. You have to do it. And they're like, what? And the request is from Warlord Seguin, who is the number 4th most powerful like wizard in the whole continent, right? There's like the Wizard Saints, and there's like 10 Wizard Saints, which include Jura and Makarov. But then like the top 4 are known as the 4 emperors of Ishgal. And so he's one of them, like, oh, wow, that's so powerful. Like, what does he need our help for? Or something. So Natsu and Gray are on this quest, and Wendy, the rest of like the team, Wendy, Urza, and Lucy, of course, tag along to make sure they don't kill each other. And then Lucy's wearing this fucking hot fucking thing. Oh, Jesus Christ. It's just so fucking hot. Can't stand it. And, they're trying to fight, but everyone's stopping them. And they start talking about the Wizard Saints. And we just kind of get like a recap that like, who else do we know that were Wizard Saints? There's Jura and Makarov, but also Jalil and Jose from Phantom Brave or whatever it's fucking called. They're also Wizard Saints. And so they find their way over to Warren Sequin's place, and he's like a tree man now, and he's all about green magic, and he's like a big goofball. So we get like hilarity ensues, and it's like very not funny, trying to be funny, like dad humor kind of stuff. And even the characters in there are just like, oh my gosh, I wish he would stop. Anyway, he explains to them that he's been spending all his time trying to retake the desert land and turn it back into like flourishing land. And so he's caught up with that. But then in his journeys, he found this village called the Village of the Sun, and they worship like the burning flame of a guardian god. I mean, the eternal flame is as their guardian god, but then at some point the whole thing was frozen over, including the eternal flame. So he wants these guys to go check it out and see what they can do to help out. And they're like, all right, we got it. And he's like, oh, good. It's like 12,000 miles away. It's like, the fuck? No, it's 1,200. It's 1,200. And so it's, don't worry, I'll get you over there. And so they all agree to do it. They all gather together, and he summons like this flower thingy that like transports them over there, and we get a nice shot of Lucy's cleavage while they all fly this flower thing. And then we get like a flashback of him. He's like, it reminds me. And he closes his eyes, and we go back in time like 105 years or something. And we see Ward before he turned into like a tree man. He's just like a regular man. And there's a couple other guys there, and they're like, this is our guild. We finally got it started. And then Mavis shows up because they were the first 4 members of Fairy Tale when it was began 105 years ago. And he's excited that Mavis's desires have lived on through these people. We then get chapter 343 as a splash with Lucy in a swimsuit laying on her back, which is goddamn a game. This fucking thing is so good. Okay. Like fan service keeps me strong in the age of just building between chapters and no action. It's so good. Like Lucy helps me get through those dark nights. Okay, so then they're able to get to the village, and yep, everything's frozen, but also dun dun dun, all the people in this village are giants, and they're huge, and it's like, oh my gosh. And so they're thinking about that and talking about it, and Natsu's like, whatever, I'll just burn this up. And so, Gray has like a flashback to, what's that guy's name? Demios? No. Deliora. Yeah, I think it's Deliora. Oh, it says right here. Yeah, Deliora, who was like the monster who his like mother essentially like sacrificed herself to to freeze up, and he thinks about her tear, and he's kind of sad, and Lucy's like, you doing okay? And he's like, I'm okay. There's also like big frozen dogs and stuff. So that's when Natsu tries to burn it, but he can't. And then Gray like touches it, and he can't do anything either. And he's like, this ice feels, it's like, I've never felt this kind of magic before, but it does remind me of somebody's magic. And then they get interrupted by these treasure hunters who are Slith Labyrinth. And then they go back and forth about how these three dudes, they want to like steal the eternal flame, and it's not stealing because they're treasure hunters. And they're like, no, you are just thieves. And they go back and forth a little bit. And then they're like, after some arguing, they're like, whatever. And they like run off to go steal the flame. And then, and they also have some moon drip, which is the stuff Leon was using to open up Doloria. Anyway, whatever its name is, the big monster that I was just talking about like 2 seconds ago that I already forgot the name of, on the Magic Island, right? And so they take off, and then Natsu, Lucy, Wendy, and Gray take off after them, while Ursa stays behind to kind of investigate. And then we see this like big flying, one-eyed, crazy-looking monster in the sky. And there's this guy who's wearing like a bandana with like scary teeth on it, and he's watching, and he's talking to somebody, and he's like, treasure hunters, what is, those are both problems, we need to eliminate them. And then we see this like sexy bitch who's like, fairy tale, I didn't think I'd get my revenge so soon. And if you were wondering what happened to Minerva, here she is. She's joined the dark magic guild, Succubus Eye, and she's the newest member of this guild. Okay, hold on. I skipped too many pages. All right. So the guys get chased around for a bit, and finally they kind of stop and like, all right, time to fight. And this one guy has like a big hammer that's like a fist, and the other guy's got a sword, and then the third guy like disappeared at some point. And so then they start fighting, and because it's a shonen manga, even though they're not so is undefeatable, him and Gray struggle like with these guys, and then Lucy and Wendy have to like dodge out of the way because there's like a sniper shot that almost gets them. Because the third guy's like a sniper, and then Wendy like helps protect Lucy. Oh, no. So what happens is the guy uses so the hammer guy knocks Natsu away. The sword guy uses a heavy stab attack that does like an explosive thing, and then Wendy knocks Lucy down so we can see her panties. Because the other guy's like a sniper and shot at them. And so then Lucy summons Sagittarius, and they have like a shoot off, but the guy is able to like shoot all of Sagittarius's arrows. And then they're like, oh, these guys are pretty tough, actually. Let's get this fight going. But we skip back over to Ursa, who's just kind of walking around the village, thinking about stuff, thinking about like, okay, so they're clearly, everyone's got weapons. They're all facing the same direction. They're all trying to go do something. So this must be like an attack. And it's like, okay, well, if they're all facing the same direction, they got weapons, they must be protecting something. What could they be protecting? The eternal flame. That's probably what it is. So then, okay, where is everybody's back? Okay, everyone's facing the back. Their backs are facing this mountain over there. So then she turns, and it's like, all right, time to run up the mountain. So she runs to the mountain, and it's like, there's nothing here. But then there's like this strange icy crystal. And so she walks up to it. And right as she gets there, she realizes she's been turned into a child. Dun, dun, dun. And that wraps up volume 40 of Fairy Tail. So go ahead and like, share, subscribe, comment, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye.